Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this English lesson with me Agus Bizena, and in this beautiful time, we are going to talk about listening comprehension. What is that and what are the tips for listening comprehension? So let's check it out. Yeah, first, what is listening comprehension? Listening comprehension has the multiple purposes of comprehension in language when it is understood, interpreted, and spoken. So listening comprehension is not just hearing something, but when you listen, you have to process the information until you get the idea and you do the action based on what the instruction of the listening or video. Yeah, so that's listening comprehension. And then let's see the difference between listening and hearing, because sometimes people ask you to please listen or please hear. So what are the difference actually? Listening will refer to listening comprehension. When somebody asks you to listen, then you have to comprehend your listening. Yeah, so here are the difference between hearing and listening. The first one, in terms of the order of the communication, so on hearing, the order will be physiological order. So order based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But in listening, it will be based on interpretative order. So when you hear, so the order will be how we interpret from one to another. And the second one, perceiving the sound for hearing, means that you understand what actually the sound. But on listening, it's not enough on that. So you have to interpreting sound and verbal and non-verbal action. So when you hear the sound, then you have to interpret and you have to do action whether verbal or non-verbal action. So there will be instruction of, for example, like answering question and then responding and others. Yeah, so means that in the third difference on hearing is passive process. So just hear, then let it go. But on listening, it will be active process. When you hear something, then there will be process that you have to do based on the sound, topic, or instruction that you hear. So those are the difference between hearing and listening. Yeah, and now we are going to talk about listening comprehension. The skill of listening comprehension are distinguished based on three parts or three components. What are they? The first one is recognition, and the second one is selection, and the third one is interpretation. So what is recognition? Yeah. So recognition means connecting, recognizing the components of a passage, sound, word, linguistic elements such as pronouns, verb, and among others. So we have to know what actually the topic, we have to know what actually the area of the listening that we hear. And the second component is selection. So selection means you select the most important words in the message. For example, like names, verbs, keyword, and others. Yeah, because it's gonna be impossible for you to understand every single word on what you hear on the sound. So that is why you have to select which one is the main part, which one is the main word as the keyword, in order to easier to understand what actually the sound or the listening ideas. Yeah, and the third one is interpretation. So interpretation is the understanding of the information that was heard. This means knowing the intention and purpose of the message. So interpretation, you find out the meaning of the whole listening that you listen from the passage or from the sound. Yeah, so those are about listening comprehension. And now let's see 5 tips in order to be success in listening comprehension. What are they? The first one is practice. Yeah. Why? Because practice is the king. Yeah. Without practice, it's gonna be nothing. So spend your time to practice listening from many resources that you can find out from the CD, from the television, from the video, from YouTube, or from others. So you can find out from where you can find the resources. And the second one is understand. Yeah, you have to understand every single sentence, every single situation on the listening. How you can understand the topic. Yeah. So as I said before, one thing that you can do is selecting the main word or the keyword of every single phrase or sentence. So it will like really help you in order to understand what actually the message on the listening that you hear. The third one is pay attention to intonation. It's gonna be very important when you hear something. So you will see the intonation of the speaker. Yeah. When it is highlighted, when it is emphasized, so it will show that that is the most important one. So if the normal, so perhaps that's like less important, little bit emphasized, then that's gonna be like yeah, important. Yeah, so less important, the most important one. So you can see from the intonation of the speaker. Yeah. And then number 4, be foresighted. Yeah, so be foresighted means you have to be able to imagine the topic, the thing on the whole or wider. Yeah, so not only on the box. Yeah, but when we talk, for example, about North Korea and talk about nuclear, so you can imagine the whole one, the whole process. You can link with your information that you have. Yeah, so it will be like easier for you to understand every single part, every single word on the listening topic. Yeah. And the last one that you have to do is watch out for the structure. Yeah. So when you listen, you really need focus. Your focus will be very important in order to be able to concentrate and absorb all the information that you have and that you hear from the listening from the listening resources that you have. So that is why make sure there will be no distraction around you. For example, like voice, people, thing. Yeah, so it's gonna be like create very terrible in order for you to concentrate. So make sure that you find a place which is very comfortable, which is nice, which is out from any distraction around you. So it's gonna be like make you full concentration and easier for you to absorb what you have or what you hear from the speaker. So those are the 5 tips in order to be success in listening comprehension. So thank you very much for watching and see you on the next English lesson. Bye bye.